These are the 10 Black Friday secrets Harbor Freight never wanted you to uncover. You clicked this because something about their biggest sale of the year has never felt quite right, and your instincts were correct. Most shoppers walk into Harbor Freight on Black Friday thinking they're about to save a fortune, but walk out paying more than they would any other day. Not because they're careless, but because Harbor Freight is masterful at making hype look like savings and steering people toward the wrong deals. And if that stings a little, good, that means you're finally seeing the game for what it is. Because once you understand how this machine works, you stop being the customer they expect and start being the shopper they fear. And it all begins with the secret hidden in plain sight on every Harbor Freight price tag: the Black Friday price tag cipher. Every Harbor Freight shopper thinks they know what a sale looks like until they learn the truth, hiding in the tiny numbers at the end of every price tag. Because Black Friday at Harbor Freight isn't driven by discounts, it's driven by codes, silently telling the employees what's real and telling you absolutely nothing. When you walk in on Black Friday, every aisle screams with signs, massive markdowns, fire red tags, event pricing, doorbusters, lowest of the year. But none of it matters. The only thing that matters is the last 2 digits of the price. Those digits decide whether you're getting a deal or whether you're being played. Most shoppers see a red tag and think, "Sale!" Harbor Freight knows that. That's why they print so many of them. But behind the scenes, their pricing system is brutally simple, almost cruelly simple. $1.99, that's regular price. Yes, the same Black Friday sale price you think you're snagging might be the exact same price it sat at in July. $1.97 or $1.94, that's the real markdown. The one Harbor Freight won't shout about. The one they bury behind mountains of flashy nothingness, hoping you walk right past it. Once you understand that code, Black Friday becomes a completely different store. Suddenly, you can walk past all the noise, all the fake deals, all the visual tricks, and go straight to the handful of items that are actually discounted. It's like having night vision goggles in a room full of flashing lights while everyone else is still blinded. And the price tag cipher is only the first crack in the facade, because the next secret exposes how Harbor Freight manipulates something even more irresistible than a discount: the freebie trap. Harbor Freight's free after coupon items are legendary. Flashlights, magnetic trays, tarps, tiny treasures that make you feel like you've just outsmarted the system. But on Black Friday, those freebies become something far more dangerous. They become bait. Harbor Freight knows how powerful the word free is. People will drive across town, stand in line, and wade through crowds just to grab something that costs absolutely nothing. It feels like a victory before you've even stepped inside. And that feeling is exactly what they're counting on. Those freebie tables are never placed randomly. They're positioned with surgical precision, always surrounded by higher margin products, tool chests, inverters, pressure washers, premium brands you wouldn't normally glance at. But suddenly, after grabbing your win, you're in the mood to spend. It's psychological momentum. You enter the store thinking, "I'm saving," and Harbor Freight expertly flips that into, "Well, I'm already winning, I might as well pick up this too." That's how a free flashlight becomes a $90 cart. That little freebie, the one that feels like a gift from the tool gods, it's not there to save you money. It's there to guide you quietly, subtly straight into the most profitable section of the store. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. The freebies aren't rewards, they're magnets, pulling you directly into Harbor Freight's most lucrative trap. And if you think that's clever, wait until you hear how Harbor Freight plays with time itself and tricks shoppers before Black Friday even begins. The sale that starts before Black Friday. Most people believe Harbor Freight's biggest tool discounts happen on Black Friday. That's the myth, that's the illusion, and it's the single biggest reason shoppers walk straight past the real deals without ever knowing it. Harbor Freight doesn't wait for Black Friday to drop its best prices. They drop them early, quietly, strategically, almost sneakily, sometimes 1 week early, sometimes 2. They roll out early Black Friday deals, inside track pre-sales, and advance event pricing. all before the chaos begins. But they don't advertise these early drops loudly because they don't want the average shopper to know that the best prices often arrive before the crowds ever form. On Black Friday itself, something strange happens. Some prices go up, not dramatically, but enough that your deal of the year is actually worse than the sale they posted 10 days earlier. That generator you saw on November 1st, cheaper. That tool chest you hesitated on November 10th, cheaper. The orbital sander you planned to grab on Black Friday, cheaper 2 weeks before the event even existed. Harbor Freight uses the hype of the day to sell items that were genuinely discounted earlier, then quietly nudged upward once everyone is emotionally primed to buy. They're not lowering prices for Black Friday, they're raising your expectations. The smartest Harbor Freight shoppers, the ones who truly save, never wait for the big day. They watch the early ads, they track the price history. They buy when the pre-sale hits, not when the parking lot turns into a war zone. Once you know this, Black Friday becomes a show you can watch from the sidelines, smiling because you already captured the real bargains weeks before anyone else. And believe it or not, the price games don't stop there, because some tools get even cheaper after Black Friday is over. The post-holiday price collapse. Black Friday is supposed to be the finish line, the grand finale, the moment when prices crash harder than any other time of year. That's the myth Harbor Freight wants you to believe. But the truth? Some of the deepest price drops don't happen on Black Friday. They happen after it, when the crowds have vanished and the hype has burned out. And this is where Harbor Freight's entire Black Friday illusion cracks wide open. Every November, Harbor Freight pushes an avalanche of event deals onto shoppers who are already in a frenzy. People rush in for generators because winter storms are coming. They grab heaters, shop vacs, floor jacks, welders, anything that feels useful, practical, or too cheap to pass up. But what most shoppers don't realize is that this frenzy doesn't just create profit, it creates backlog, mountains of it. Because Harbor Freight depends on volume, but when everyone buys the same items at the same time, the warehouse doesn't empty evenly. Some products stagnate, some categories get overordered, and some shelves start to look embarrassingly heavy once December ends and the customer traffic dries up. Harbor Freight cannot afford to enter the new year with too much old stock. January is a reset month. New tools arrive, updated versions roll in, seasonal items expire, and the tool habits of shoppers change dramatically. People stop buying for holidays and start buying for projects, garages, spring repairs, and tax season upgrades. Harbor Freight knows this. They plan for it, but they also know something they never say out loud. The real clearance begins after Black Friday, not during it. That's why January becomes the quiet battlefield of price corrections. Tools that were Black Friday steals suddenly get hit with genuine markdowns. Generators drop because the panic buying is over. Air compressors dip because demand falls. Welding gear gets slashed because Harbor Freight needs to push out the winter inventory. Even premium storage units get adjusted once the gift shopping rush is gone. And none of this is advertised with the same energy as Black Friday. No giant banners, no countdowns, no hype. Just quiet, strategic price cuts for the few shoppers who know where to look. If you're patient, if you can ignore the artificial urgency of November, you can walk into Harbor Freight in January and win in ways the Black Friday crowd never does. The same floor jack that felt like a blockbuster bargain in November, you'll see it again, this time with a clearance code that actually means something. That big welder everyone fought over, cheaper once holiday dust settles. The random specialty tools you thought would never go lower, marked down when the winter season ends and Harbor Freight tries to reclaim shelf space. Black Friday is not the grand finale, it's the warm-up act. The real collapse comes after the hype, after the noise, after everyone else has already emptied their wallets and walked away believing they captured the best deals of the year. But patience is only half the game, because the next secret shows how a single question asked at the right moment can unlock deals no flyer will ever show you. The manager-only Black Friday overrides. There is a level of Harbor Freight pricing that no flyer mentions, no email announces, and no shopper ever sees unless they know exactly how to trigger it. It lives behind the counter, inside the handheld scanners, and in the hands of one person, the store manager. And on Black Friday, that person holds more power over prices than any coupon, sale, or membership ever will. You've seen the red tags, you've seen the coupons, you've seen the flashy signs taped onto nearly every aisle. But what Harbor Freight will never tell you is that managers are given quiet, unofficial authority during high-traffic events to override prices on certain items. Not because they're generous, not because they're trying to help you, but because the store needs to keep shelves moving, keep customers happy, and prevent expensive returns or messy customer conflicts that could slow down the Black Friday machine. A stalled line is the enemy. A frustrated shopper is a problem, and a small discount is the easiest solution. These overrides aren't advertised. They aren't offered freely. They aren't listed anywhere on the website. They exist only for the customers who ask the right question in the right way. And most people never do. Why? Because they assume the price on the tag is final. They assume that Black Friday means no negotiations. They assume that Harbor Freight is a take-it-or-leave-it store, but they're wrong. When inventory is slightly damaged, when packaging is bent, when a tool has been returned but still works perfectly, when a product has been sitting too long on a shelf, managers have every reason to move it, and they can adjust the price on the spot, even on Black Friday, especially on Black Friday. They just don't volunteer this option unless you show that you're the kind of shopper worth offering it to. There is one simple sentence that flips the switch. One line that politely pushes the manager into revealing deals no one else gets. Are there any manager specials available on this item today? That question signals that you know the game. It shows you understand pricing isn't rigid. And on Black Friday, when the pressure is on, when traffic is high, when managers are juggling chaos, that question gets answered far more often than you'd expect. Sometimes with a quiet markdown, sometimes with an unadvertised holiday special, and sometimes with a discount that feels like you found a cheat code. So, if you're realizing you've been walking through Harbor Freight without using the power you actually have, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. You're about to become the kind of shopper the stores don't want to deal with. And I'm going to show you every trick they hope you never learn. And while everyone else is crowding the front of the store, hoping those doorbusters save them money, your next secret will show you where the real Black Friday deals are actually hiding. The middle aisle gold mine. When most people step into Harbor Freight on Black Friday, they follow the path the store wants them to follow. Straight through the front tunnel of flashy signs, towering stacks of merchandise, blinding event stickers, and giant red tags that feel urgent enough to trigger your heartbeat. It's a funnel, an emotional funnel, designed to pull you into the exact part of the store where Harbor Freight makes the most money. But the real deals? They're nowhere near there. Harbor Freight engineers its store lay out the same way casinos engineer their floor plans. Nothing is accidental, nothing is random, and nothing is placed where you might think it should be. The front of the store is an illusion, a parade, a loud, overwhelming display meant to distract you before you can even think clearly. Tool sets, drills, tarps, flashlights. Everything loud is staged right at the entrance to keep your eyes busy and your judgment foggy. The biggest Black Friday mistake shoppers make is assuming the best deals are the ones Harbor Freight shoves in their face. They're not. Those front-of-store deals are usually mid-tier markdowns with big signage to make them look bigger than they are. Meanwhile, the truly aggressive discounts, the ones Harbor Freight wants to clear quietly without drawing a stampede, are hidden deeper in the store, usually in those center aisles most people skip. The low shelves that require a second glance, the middle floor displays that don't shout for attention, the areas with fewer signs, fewer crowds, and far better prices. Harbor Freight places the steepest markdowns where only the attentive, the curious, and the intentional shoppers ever look. In other words, where you're about to start looking. The moment you learn to bypass the front-of-store decoys, Harbor Freight transforms. The middle aisles become a goldmine parked fans, oddball tools, seasonal stragglers, discontinued models, tool accessories, and niche items, all carrying deeper, quieter cuts than anything in the doorbuster section. This is where the store hides discounts for people who don't fall for theatrics. And once you know this, you'll move through Harbor Freight like you're reading a secret map the average shopper never even knew existed. And if you think the layout tricks are sneaky, wait until you learn the meaning of the strange dots and stickers. Harbor Freight tries very hard not to explain. The liquidation dot markings. If you've ever picked up a box at Harbor Freight and noticed a strange colored sticker or a dot that didn't seem to mean anything, it meant something. In fact, it meant more than any sale sign in the entire store. Those dots are whispering the truth about an item's fate, whether it's staying, whether it's leaving, or whether it's about to get a markdown so deep the store hopes no one notices until it's gone. Harbor Freight uses a quiet internal system to mark products that are on their way out. Discontinued tools, over-ordered inventory, regional dead stock, items that corporate has decided to phase out, replace, or simply purge. And instead of announcing these changes publicly with flyers or banners or special promotions, they mark the boxes. A tiny dot here, a color sticker there, usually on the corner, sometimes on the bottom, always small, always subtle, always overlooked by shoppers who never question the meaning behind it. Those dots are not just markings, they're warnings. Warnings that the price on that item is not real, not final, not the end of the story. A red dot might mean the item is on a last call clearance cycle. A yellow sticker could signal a regional discontinuation. A blue or green dot could indicate overflow inventory, that the store needs to move before new models arrive. And on Black Friday, these items, these marked boxes, are often still sitting at regular price because Harbor Freight is waiting for the crowds to thin, waiting for the chaos to end, waiting for the perfect moment to drop the price without drawing attention. Because if they marked these items down during Black Friday, they'd sell instantly. And Harbor Freight doesn't want them selling instantly, they want them selling strategically. And here's the payoff. If you walk the aisles and pay attention to these dots, you'll spot the tools that are about to hit their deepest markdowns in the coming days or weeks. The items Harbor Freight wants to vanish quietly, without fanfare. The boxes that are practically labeled "come back later" for a better price. Once you recognize these markings, you'll never look at Harbor Freight the same way again. You won't need a sale sign, you won't need a coupon. You'll know just by picking up a box whether you should buy now, wait, or prepare for a clearance drop bigger than anything the Black Friday flyer promised. And as sneaky as those dot markings are, they're nothing compared to the psychological game Harbor Freight plays with its membership program. The Inside Track Illusion. Harbor Freight loves to talk about the Inside Track Club like it's some kind of elite secret society of deal hunters. The glossy mailers, the bold members-only stamps, the exclusive pages of early sales. It all feels like you're being invited behind the velvet rope. But once you peel away the marketing, something becomes painfully clear. The Inside Track Club isn't built to save you money. It's built to shape your perception of savings. On the surface, the Inside Track Club sounds unbeatable. You pay the membership fee, and suddenly you get access to deals days before anyone else. You get exclusive pricing. You get the privilege of seeing the Black Friday flyer early. It feels like power. It feels like an advantage. It feels like you're stepping into a world the average shopper will never see. But here's the twist. Many of those so-called exclusive prices eventually drop for everyone. Sometimes weeks later, sometimes days later, sometimes at lower prices than the membership claimed was the best you'll get. The illusion works because Harbor Freight knows most members don't track price history. They know people get excited when they see members only stamped on a tag, even if the actual markdown is tiny or temporary. And on Black Friday, this illusion is amplified. The Inside Track Club flyer arrives early, building hype, making shoppers feel like they're getting a head start. But the reality, most of the items in that flyer hit the regular sale ad shortly after, meaning non-members end up paying the same or even less. And here's the payoff. The Inside Track Club is not evil, but it's not magic either. It's a psychological tool, a way to make you believe you're saving more than you are. A way to get you emotionally invested in buying early, buying fast, and buying often. The real power comes from understanding this. If you're not buying big-ticket items consistently, the membership pays Harbor Freight more than it pays you. And once you recognize the illusion, you'll start seeing the membership for what it truly is. A clever marketing layer built on top of deals that often get better without it. But even that illusion is nothing compared to Harbor Freight's most misleading trick of all. Because next, we're exposing the truth behind their infamous compare to pricing. The compare to mirage. Harbor Freight's compare to tags are everywhere, bold, confident, and designed to make you feel like you're getting a steal. They show a Harbor Freight price on the left, A much higher competitor price on the right, and the psychological trap falls into place. Look how much you're saving. It's one of the most powerful marketing tools in the entire store. And on Black Friday, it becomes a weapon. When shoppers see a product for $40 next to a compare to price of $80 or $90, their brain doesn't think, is this comparison fair? It thinks, look at this unbelievable discount. Harbor Freight counts on that. They count on the shock value, the emotional rush, the satisfaction of beating a big-name brand's price. It feels like you're hacking the system. It feels like you're smarter than the average shopper. And that emotional high makes you buy faster than logic ever would. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people never, ever question. Those comparison prices are often outdated, mismatched, oversimplified, or based on products that are not even in the same league. Sometimes they're last year's discontinued models. Sometimes they're an older version with more features. Sometimes they're from a brand Harbor Freight knows will always be priced higher. And sometimes the competitor's price dropped months ago, but the comparison tag never changed. On Black Friday, these compare to mirages become even louder and even more aggressive. Harbor Freight inflates the psychological impact of the deal, not the deal itself. You're not comparing apples to apples. You're comparing apples to a picture of an apple from 3 seasons ago. Once you understand the compare to trick, the entire store transforms. That $80 competitor price loses its hypnotic effect. That half-off illusion crumbles. You stop taking the tags at face value and start checking real-world prices on your phone. You stop being led by the marketing and start leading your own decisions. Suddenly, you are no longer the shopper they designed the store for. You're the shopper they hope never walks in. And as misleading as the compare to numbers can be, they still don't come close to Harbor Freight's biggest Black Friday secret, the one they truly hope you never figure out. The Black Friday false flag. Black Friday at Harbor Freight feels like a once-a-year event, a sacred ritual where the doors swing open, the crowds surge in, and every aisle screams, lowest price ever. It feels like the moment you've been waiting for, the moment you're supposed to strike. But the truth lurking behind that excitement is far darker. Harbor Freight uses Black Friday not as the day to slash prices, but as the day to control them. Harbor Freight knows exactly what Black Friday means to the average shopper. Urgency, emotion, fear of missing out. For one day only, people believe the rules of retail bend in their favor. They believe the best deals of the year are finally within reach. And Harbor Freight leans into that belief with everything they have. Loud ads, bold flyers, oversized banners, and event-only highlights, meant to flood your brain with adrenaline before you even step inside. But step back for one moment, really step back, and something strange becomes obvious. Most of the items on their Black Friday sales sheet were already on sale earlier in the year. Some were cheaper, some will be cheaper again. Many of the doorbusters are not clearance items. They're slow movers. Harbor Freight wants to push before new stock arrives. Black Friday becomes a spotlight, drawing you toward the items they want gone, not the items they could actually discount the most. And the more distracted the crowds are by the spectacle, the more pricing freedom Harbor Freight has. A few price bumps here, a few temporary event-only labels there. It's not fraud, it's theater. Theater built on the assumption that shoppers will never question whether the day itself is the real deal or a decoy. The biggest Black Friday secret Harbor Freight doesn't want you to know is this: their absolute lowest prices of the year often happen 8 to 10 weeks before Black Friday and 8 to 10 weeks after it. Not during the event, not during the chaos, not when the parking lot looks like an apocalypse. The true bargain windows live in the quiet months, when stores are clearing space for new inventory or recovering from holiday overflow. Black Friday is not the finish line. It's a false flag, a distraction, a carefully engineered illusion designed to make you believe timing doesn't matter when timing is actually everything. And now that you know the truth, now that you've seen behind the curtain, you're no longer the shopper they count on. You're the shopper they hope stays home. If you learned even one secret today that opened your eyes, hit that like button, subscribe, and join the growing group of shoppers who refuse to be fooled by fake deals. Because the next video is going to expose the tricks your other favorite stores hope you never wake up to.